Is it on? Or to verify screen. Yeah, we're on live.
I call the meeting of the Batesville Redevelopment Commission and call the roll. Derek Cox. Here. Kevin Campbell. Here. Bill Narwhal here. Melissa Tucker.
Here.
Mayor Eargang absent. Paul Gates absent. Sarah Lamping.
Here.
Jeremy Raver.
Here.
Blaine Timonera.
Present.
And Terry Riley. Here. And we also have John Coontz.
City engineer.
Yep, from the city.
Now that we are recording, and this is live stream, comments, questions, make sure that your microphone is on because the audience cannot hear us if the microphone is not on.
Okay, after calling the meeting to order, I'll ask for, you all had a copy of the minutes presented to you ahead of time. When someone is comfortable, I'll take a recommendation to approve the minutes of the July 23rd meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Motion has been made. Do I hear a second? Melissa seconds. Any discussion, additions, subtractions? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Same sign. We have minutes.
Do we need 2 copies of those signed?
I got them right here.
Okay, thank you.
Need to sign them. The second item on the agenda is the redevelopment commission resolution, which you will find in your packet. And I will, as soon as I find it, I will read it for the public. Resolution authorizing and establishing the president of the commission as authorized agent of the commission. Whereas the redevelopment commission, the city of Batesville, RDC, having been established under and compliant with Indiana law, including Indiana Code, whereas the Indiana Code, permits RDC to adopt specific rules and or bylaws which it considers necessary for the proper conduct and procedures and carry out the duties of RDC as authorized by law. Whereas RDC desires to adopt a rule, procedure, and or resolution establishing the president of the RDC to be authorized agent of the RDC permitted to act on behalf and bind the RDC as authorized by commission. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Redevelopment Commission, the city of Batesville, having fully been and truthfully advised, does hereby authorize the standing president of RDC to serve as the authorized agent of RDC permitted to act on behalf and bind the RDC to authorize by vote of the commissioners. That this authorization is necessary for the proper conduct and proceedings and the RDC carry out its duties as authorized by law. Adopted by the Redevelopment Commission of the City of Batesville, Indiana, and on the 27th day of August, 2025. Do I hear a motion to approve the resolution as presented?
I'll make the motion.
A second?
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? I don't necessarily want to change it now unless it's an easy fix. But I thought originally when we said this, it was by the president or the vice president in his absence. I mean, if there's some reason I'm out of town and or the president's out of town, did it say or his designee or?
Yeah, I can add that language in there, that's not a problem, so you can adopt it with that clause, and I'll rerun it, and I'll print it out.
So, I'd like to offer that as an amendment to this, that it state that, in the absence of the president, the vice president, is authorized you approve that amendment? And second, so having the resolution and the amendment to the resolution approved and, or motion made and seconded, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have a resolution. Okay, other unfinished business? Hearing none. Well, I guess while we're on that resolution, what happens with this process now, Sarah? They get the resolution and the purchase agreement is approved upon. I just need to sign off on it.
Yes.
And we write the check and.
Yes, that's how it would.
Wait.
They need to verify because the question was asked, please show us the bylaws of the redevelopment commission showing that the president is authorized to sign on behalf of the redevelopment commission. RDCs, or redevelopment commissions, are not required to have bylaws. We are not required to have bylaws. But in lieu of that, a resolution such as this can be put in place versus us having to go back and establish bylaws this late in the game.
Okay. So by next month, we may have possession of the property or?
I will have to get back with Tim, and I can let you know that.
Okay. And the cost of that was?
Oh, you're making me dig into my old notes. I want to say, I don't have that figure in front of me.
Would it end up being 85? Or?
Yeah.
And we had to have appraisals and so.
Yeah, and the appraisals are in process.
Okay, so just somewhere in the 90,000 probably will cover it when it's all said and done.
I take that back. We've already appraised the lot 4, but okay. Let me look into that.
Blaine, is that what agendas for that, or that, will we be able to sign off on that tonight? So you're gonna go ahead
I'm
and.
typing it now.
No, I will.
Okay, new business, financial reports and claims.
Paul Gates, our clerk treasurer, is out of the office with a health-related condition. And I did speak with him, and he has not provided us with a budget for this evening's meeting. And in turn, he said that essentially nothing has changed from last month's. Some claims and invoices were submitted, paid, that were okay for him to approve and move forward on. There is a Reedy financial bill for the total of $3,275.85 for the neutralization and review process of our TIF. And then it would not affect your bill, but it was brought up that also the Thrive incentive payment was paid out. That's an EDC expense. And so we're done with that one.
Okay, we have a invoice from Reedy Financial Group in the amount of $3,275.85. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll second the motion.
Motion's been approved and seconded. Any discussion? And this is for the neutralization, so end result, we usually make money off of this. One of the few things we make money off of. Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's approved. Okay, award of the industrial park contract. Sarah?
That's why we have our city engineer here with us to discuss the bids that were received and the process that has been taken to evaluate those bids. And you have been given a recommendation letter as well on the selected contractor. And John, if you'd like to grab a microphone and add the additional, you received 4 bids.
Yeah, we received 4 bids. and excavating was the lowest bid. But anytime I've walked with them, they've been good to walk with, so I don't see any issue with approving their bid. So,
I guess my only concern is how it was just, it should we see that conservative that they missed the mark by 65%, or is there something?
yeah, I mean, there was another bid, I'd have to look it up, there was another bid that was real close to this one too. I mean, a lot of times they just get someone gets that stuff. Don't want to budget too low and then wonder why we did the budget.
It just seems like a pretty big miss.
But
And there are some other,
HVDC thought it'd be like 1 point, just short of 1.9 million. This one's under 1.2.
there,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think
There-
that's when the road was long. They had a.
I know we shortened it a little bit though, didn't we?
Yeah,
There was
sure.
an updated engineer
That
estimate.
was a couple hundred
It was
thousand.
higher than this, but it wasn't
Okay.
that much higher.
along with this, process of awarding the contract, C is having to resurvey the lots that are impacted by the extension being modified. And keep in mind too, that this extension does not include a potential detention retention pond that the park will eventually need to have done, and that's about $800,000.
But that part can be required by whoever builds there too, so, I mean, it's obviously gonna improve the property, it's existing, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we can't sell lots without it, correct?
Correct.
John, I looked over the documents, and this really looked like a thorough job, so I congratulate you on that. Are there any, I mean, you being the engineer and close to this, is there anything you're really expecting a change order on, or something you think they might have missed, or that concern you?
I wouldn't think, no, I think it all looks pretty good.
And is there any contingency money that's set aside in here, or is it
Not
pretty
for this,
straightforward?
no, not when you bid it out, you don't have a contingency bid, it's all just bid items.
So I guess is this a fixed rate contract, like they'll build the road for that, or if there's other costs associated that's gonna get passed back to us?
It's all based on unit prices, so it depends on.
How much more blacktop they need, or how much more
And
gravel?
we put a lot of,
So we,
we got a geotech to give an estimate how much undercuts we thought they would need based on the cross section, since we did the lot wall, we added a lot more than what, they recommended just to be safe, so hopefully, won't be overages. Well, hopefully we overestimated that to not run into that situation.
And then, John, I promise, last question, the payment schedule for this, how is it set up? Every month, or are there certain deadline dates to say when it's a third completed, a half
It
completed?
would be every month.
Every month.
they have an estimated start, finish time.
I don't have an estimated start, the finish time is the end of next construction year. So I think we put October next year.
October 2026. Now, I have a question. What are the steps that need to be taken going forward? A vote to accept and award the bid? Who contacts HWC? Who contacts Johanneman?
I'll contact all of them.
Okay, but then your signature is needed, Bill, on that, and then,
That's typical.
yeah, and then provide that to
I've
John.
already do that now.
Just what we were told.
Once you make the amendments.
Yeah.
So not-
Well, then you do.
Mhm.
Okay, we have a recommendation from the city engineer to approve the contract for extension of the, industrial park road. The contract is for Johanneman excavating in the amount of $1,125,750. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have an extension plan, so by the end of next summer. Okay. Nice job, John. Okay, other new business?
Yes, my notes are lamping, and there is something that I wanted to bring up and have potential consideration given to the AP building and the training center. We have had multiple prospects come to us with the hope that the city would provide some sort of support, and we have not been able to come to an agreement on what that should be, simply because we want a better understanding what the long-term project will be at the end of the day. But this is, again, another prospect that has the property in mind, and he's looking for some financial support. And I'm going to want you to weigh in on this, Eric. And the concern is, yes, the leaky roof, and the lighting is being taken care of, and then the exterior facade and painting. The request has been, is there some sort of financial support the city could provide to get these items done, simply because there is a commercial broker that will not accept it as a property to sell simply because of the way it looks. The paint is not good. The roof leaks. He's had a couple of potential tenants who have said, A, I don't want to put my sign on that building the way it looks, and I don't want to put my products in there if the roof is leaking. So with these two elements being a deterrent, and is there potential for some sort of, and we haven't done it, we've talked about it, we've gone round and round, and John and I have talked about it as well. Could there possibly be some sort of incentive tied that's similar to the Batesville Improvement Grant, that is a forgivable loan of sorts? Say it's $50,000 a year over a 3-year period type of thing, forgivable loan. And I know we have other candidates in the room that were interested and nothing was brought forward. So we're throwing that out with just some feedback on our willingness to potentially take some TIF dollars in a TIF district to improve a property.
I know that the area that you're talking about is the one that's nearest the post office area, and I know that it's looked at about $160,000 to replace that roof. That being said, it's going to be a ask of some other group, whoever buys it, right? Is trying to tap into some type of grant funds to kind of get those improvements to be able to get made. So long story short, in my opinion, is that if the RDC has the ability to do that, it's going to incentivize someone to be able to buy it. Because right now, it's going to take $160,000 to get people into that section. And so if the RDC has the ability to offset that, in whether it's an incentive or anything, that bulk money is going to that roof, because it's probably the most funding savvy part of that AP building, right? Is where the roof leaks. And so in order to be able to get somebody in there, whether it's talking Medlizer or any other groups that have been interested whatsoever, those things have to get done right off the bat. And so we're looking at trying to find an empty warehouse right now that has leaks in the roof of the most active part. That's a deterrent for a lot of buyers that are looking to do that, because they're going to buy it for whatever the price they buy it for, and then they add on $160,000 to the roof. That's where you're starting to get that hesitation
guess I'll be the jerk in the situation, but if that's the case, why don't they lower the purchase price of the building $160,000, and it becomes either the current property owner's problem or the current bank's problem that says, hey, look, we can either pour more money into this and sell it and get something out of it, or we're going to take it back because it's sitting empty and now we've got foreclosure on our hands and we're not going to move it. I don't understand why that's the city that we should write a check to fix that. I mean, I don't mind incentivizing somebody to buy it that's got a plan that says, hey, I want to come buy this, turn it into retail, residential, and maybe some warehousing and some light manufacturing or whatever. And that'd be like a big project that's going to happen over the course of a couple of years. But that's a seller issue to me, not a city issue.
Well, the way the RDC kind of, to your point, I agree, right, actually, it's a,
Talking to the
oh, sorry. One thing that I would say is, I lost my train of thought here. I know, as far as an incentive goes on, I would use that incentive for the purpose of the roof, is what I'd say. So like, if it's $50,000 a year, we're gonna give you $150,000 a year for a roof, right? Pay $50,000 for 3 years, kind of thing. But make it specific for something that is on the facade, that we, because who knows who the next owner is? I mean, they may be there for 3 years and something happens. We don't know that, right? But by putting in money to the roof that needs it, also gives it more ability to be sold in the long run anyway. Because it's the biggest deterrent that you got on property taxes right now.
And it has been one of the most single highest deterrents of any potential buyer that has come to the city. We gotta ask ourselves, do we want it to go into foreclosure? Then our hands are tied. You know, anybody can pick that up. They don't have to fix it. I mean, how badly do we want this property in our downtown to be purchased and used for something useful versus what it is today? And you know, the current tenant is looking at warehousing. That's not the most profitable thing to put into it.
A little bit of historic perspective, when we went through this with the Sherman House several years ago, it had a bad roof on it. And these very discussions came up. We're stabilizing the building, we're not propping up the buyer. And the answer to that to the public is by improving that building, and let's say this is the seed money that gets that building off the ground and gets other people to come to the table and gets more people with skin in the game, it's going to raise the property value of that property, and in the long run, we're going to get it back. And it'll take a while to get $150,000 back and increase property taxes, but we don't know what other kind of growth it might cause that this would be the seed money for when it comes to property taxes. The other thing I would add to that is this is clearly within the TIF zone, and it goes to benefit people within the TIF zone. And now maybe the property owners, per se, don't live in, but they're going to have property in it. And to your point, if it sells in 2 years and somebody else comes in there, at least they're buying a building with a higher assessed valuation and more ability to move it on to somebody else that might take it to a whole nother level. So I look at this not just as a realtor's problem or a buyer's problem or a seller's problem. I look at it as a community problem. And in the big picture of things and the investment that somebody might make, $50,000 now with the contingency that they play the game right, we've always got another. We're not looking at 150,000. We're looking at 50,000 now with the idea that if this works out, we have verbally committed and we would commit to it if it goes to improvement of the property. And I would be very comfortable doing that. We did it with the Sherman. You know, that hasn't worked out as great as it could, but it still may. It still may. So I would be comfortable saying to Sarah, who's been, meeting with these individuals, that she could be comfortable in saying that there could be a commitment for that kind of money. Now, before I don't want that to come to a vote tonight to say we're going to give this individual this amount of money. I would like to see something in writing from them and state that it's going to go through the roof. That's what we require of the Sherman House. And or state that it's going to go to the facade, because they talk also about painting, and before we would approve it. But I guess, I don't know what everybody else thinks, but that's kind of my position on it.
I guess we did do that for sure, but we also did that in lieu of doing a TIF bond, because it was going to be cheaper for us to do it that way. And then, yeah, we gave them and said, hey, look, we want to see the roof fixed right, and here's why we're giving you this much. But they did a multi-million-dollar project that was it. And if this is going to be a $650,000 project, because we're buying the AP side, they're going to fix the roof that we're paying for, and also turn into a distribution center or warehousing space. That's not going to turn into the same thing
I don't think we're paying
we
for
had
the roof.
hoped the Sherman would.
If the roof costs $160,000, they're going to put a roof on it all at one time, and we're giving $50,000 for it. So we're in the long run.
Well, I mean, 50,000 is going to touch it. It's only a third of the cost of the
Right.
roof.
So we're not buying the roof.
You're not talking about putting the entire 160 grand as an incentive for them to
No,
build the
No.
roof. You're just talking a small piece of it.
I'm talking about $50,000 a year, and they have to put it toward improvement of the property. They get to decide how they're going to do it, and I think that ought to be, and we ought to say to Sarah, this is what we would offer any group that wanted to come in there on that building, and we would expect something in writing from them other than just a conversation with her, and conversations are good for the length of time that you're on the phone. And so I would want to see a request in writing and what they're going to do with it.
I did review the agreement that we had with the Sherman, and it outlined a variety of, it was a guideline of the different things that they could work on. $200,000 was not going to fix every problem that was in there. And so it was, they got to pick the areas that improved the building and continue to improve the building. And, I can tell you this, they went above and beyond the $200,000 in improving the interior and exterior of that building. It's amazing how much time and energy they've put in, money that they've put in it to try to maintain its original characteristics. However, with the AP building, if we could say it's facade, it's roofing, and perhaps the roofing is only for that section that's leaking, with the idea that over a period of time, the entire roof can be redone, because you're not going to get a tenant in there that's going to get their products wet. But if you can lease out a point, and then two, look at the curb appeal. If he would like to paint that and turn so it looks more appealing when you come up on Walnut, then maybe it'd be nice to see some of our larger industries right there.
Melissa, what's your opinion?
I agree a little bit with both of you. I'm torn because I kind of look at that with what Kevin said. Just putting a warehouse in our center downtown. We would like to bring more traffic into our community. I don't know if that's ideal, but we had that kind of, that's what we had in the buildings previously anyway.
I'd like to add as well that the building was originally zoned DC because it's in downtown, and they did meet with the Board of Zoning Appeals, and they did allow a special exception for it to be an I-2 for light manufacturing for a period of 3 years. So if something does not go in there after 3 years, then it defaults back to D2.
And personally, I don't think that's something that we'll ever want, right? I mean, especially with marketability, that all definitely, if it didn't have that variance that got pushed off for another 3 years, that place becomes unbelievably difficult to market itself. And so it's unbelievably vital. I wish we would have had a permanent set in there for that or whatever, but that's definitely one that would be a concern going forward, that variance going through. And just to throw this out, like, honestly, I think the biggest deterrent, like everybody said, for someone purchasing that building is the roof. And I know we're talking about 50,000 for an incentive. Like, I would change that spec and say, well, we have a blank building. Forget anybody that's potentially interested in it. We have a blank building that has the ability to house manufacturing that currently can't because of the roof. I think we should fix the roof. And I think it sounds silly, right? At the same time, we fix the roof and we have people that can come in there and actually use it for manufacturing from day one. It's $160,000 to fix the roof, right?
So on that, are you saying to give it now to the current property owners for them to do it, and then they open the door to other prospects to purchase the property who may do light manufacturing?
I think whoever's coming in to buy it, we should tell them, you purchase this property, we're gonna put a new roof on it for $160,000. Because whether they sell that, they get rid of it, they do whatever, we put our part in it, it makes it marketable for the next person, if there is one. Because it's literally the only thing that, like, it's the on top of cost of what you're purchasing the place for. And when you look at the other competitive places around that you can actually purchase, there's $160,000 difference compared to prices. I mean, you may get more square footage here, you get a smaller population. I mean, they're going to weigh it when people are looking at it as investors. But I think if you put that facility up to where it can be used as manufacturing, you'll find somebody to come in and use it with manufacturing, as opposed to warehouse space. And I can't guarantee that somebody can come in and use it as warehouse space for as long as they want. We can't determine who the buyer is, but what we can do is provide a facility that's going to be conducive to that type of a business in there. And I think that's where, if we don't put a roof on it, it's a lingering problem when people are doing the math for how they're going to make their return on investment.
And my thought, Kevin, was we don't put a roof on it. We give them 50,000, and they've got to come up with the line with the other 110 to put the roof on it. And
My thought was 50,000 over a 3-year period, for a total of 150,000.
But they're not going to put the roof on over 3 years.
If you're gonna, yeah, they're not gonna take up 3 years to put a roof on that.
I think the other thing is like, and again, this isn't my area of expertise, but it's like difficult to make this decision like in a bubble, right? Like, I don't know what other incentives or whatever that they're gonna
Right.
ask for. And so I think certainly in my mind, this could be on the menu of things, right? And the question is like, for that buyer coming in, what's most important to them, right? Like, do they want tax incentives or do they want capital funding opportunities or whatever? It's tough to sit here now and say by itself, not knowing what the business is, their business case, what they're gonna do in it, to say, yeah, here's a lump sum of money. It's like, I would assume this would be part of kind of that normal negotiation process where it's like, hey, the seller says, yes, there's some funding available that could be, if you meet these, hurdles or these sizes or whatever. So I like the idea of having the incentive available on a menu, so to speak. It's hard to know what the size or magnitude of that should be without knowing what the return potentially could be.
And I agree with you on that. And as far as my conversations with this individual prospect, he's not asking for, he's just asking for a little bit of city buy-in to help him understand and make this a good purchase for him going forward as he recruits tenants. So he's not asking for anything else. This is the only thing that he's asked for. And in turn, if, it's light manufacturing, fortunately, it didn't work out, but that's what we had in there for about a year. Somebody was going to do light manufacturing.
Sir, do you have a recommendation?
I would like to see the RDC strongly consider a incentive that would be paid over X period of time, 50,000 over 3 years.
I think you can be more broad with that. Give you the open conversation, including the agreement, to say that RDC is willing to help as an incentive, $150,000 and just leave it at that. So how that 150 comes out, that becomes a negotiation. But for you, you have somebody come out and be like, yeah, the RDC is committed to helping out up to $150,000 for whoever the next purchaser is to kind of make this building more relevant.
And I know we need to keep in consideration our vision for the future and our other TIF dollars and how those may need to be spent on projects going forward.
So I'd like a little bit more information on
Yeah, I mean,
what's going in there. That's kind of hard to see.
And he doesn't have a tenant yet.
well, if he's,
I thought you said manufacturing. Like
It's zoned for light manufacturing.
So, I thought, okay. And my other concern is the people that bought it before knew that the roof was bad, I believe. I don't know, but I understand I want to help get those buildings filled. Definitely it's in the heart of our downtown. I just would like just a little bit more information on it.
yeah, I mean, I'm not against incentivizing somebody to do it. It's what's going to go in there, what's going to happen. I don't agree with giving the current owners 160 grand to fix the roof, say, hey, here you go, because then when, you know, the liquor store and everybody else on that roof goes bad, hey, look, just go to
Right.
the party,
Right.
they'll fix the roof.
That's what
Or hey, I want to build a pole barn out on the outskirts or right at the edge of town so I can store whatever for RV rental. A, will the RDC pay for my roof? Because if we just give them 150 or 160 grand or whatever incentive to build this, and they go, okay, well, now I've got a tenant to take this 2,000 square feet. Well, now I got to build a partition and a wall, a firewall, and this, that, and the other for the next tenant that's going to come in and take 2,000 square foot. Well, you bought the building, you made the investment. This is on you. I don't need to make a real
I agree
estate.
with you.
I don't need to make a real estate developer. I don't need to make all the infrastructure costs and pay those for it.
I'll make a stab at a motion. The motion is to give the city of Batesville / Sarah the authority of the comfort level of knowing that she can approach potential buyers of that building and say that the redevelopment commission is positioned to give up to $150,000 over a 3-year period of time. That doesn't say it can't be on day one.
For you to give an example.
Toward the improvement of the property facade or structure, and that they be required in order to be eligible for any of those funds. They give us a written plan on when they expect to do the work and what work would be done. And then that would be brought back to us for final approval. But it gives her something to work with when it comes to saying this is what the city's incentive is.
I'll second that motion.
I don't like the dollar amount too. I think it was in there, but I'm not against.
I don't mind putting a dollar figure to it because she has to have something to go to them. What are you talking about? That's going to be the first question to ask.
Well, if the right manufacturing company showed up, or let's say even a computer system or a pharmaceutical, whatever, moves in, and they're talking about hiring 25 or 30 people with $110,000 jobs, and we figure out a way to buy the building for them. But if it's, hey, I want to do a warehouse, I want to go find a tenant, so this is a complete spec. Will you help me get into this?
We can always raise it, but that's what I think she should go and say. There's no guarantee in this, but I think this is what they have talked about doing as an incentive, and I need to bring it back to them. But before I do, you need to put it in writing what you will use it for, and it has to go to the improvement of the facade of the building.
And what your plan is for the building. what are we doing?
Yeah,
Exactly.
What's your
Long to bring in a couple tenants.
what's your short, long
Drink,
term
that's
plan?
not.
We're willing to give you up to $150,000, show us what we want to know. That kind of concept, show us what you want.
And we may have to parcel that out.
And the way we had done it previously is it was a reimbursable loan. So invoices were brought.
When they got to a certain part of the roof, they presented the bills and we gave them part of the money.
If we do a forgivable loan, isn't that what we give them all the money up front? If they do this, and this, okay, well now after year one, they only owe us $140,000. Year two,
It wasn't done that way. Call it what you want, but they presented us with bills at certain points and
we covered the full 200, and then the RDC paid back the
economic.
EDC and RDC because it was a forgivable loan between the two.
We gave them the full 200, and then we paid back the Park and Recs department or the city gas, or we paid another city department back that $200,000. The money came back from us for that.
Oh, the general fund.
Yeah,
Or
there
was
was
that
a general fund that we took
cap,
the money out of.
Any other discussion before we move to the question?
Two biggest questions that you get when you're going through and trying to do capital stack and trying to find investors you get from every single person that wants to know is what kind of buy-in does the city have? I think this $150,000 allocation gives you the power to say we have something without burying yourself in what that actually looks like.
Carrie, would you read the motion back?
Bill has for motion, city on behalf of Sarah to talk about incentives for RDC of $350,000 for over a 3-year period for property improvements, specifically facade or structure, provided the plan will be presented for council approval.
Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
I'm going to abstain. Because I'm not against incentivizing it, and I'm not against supporting something. I want to see what the plan is, somebody what to do, say, look, we need to support this.
That's exactly what I feel too. I need more information.
But I'm not against supporting somebody.
So what do?
We don't have a quorum.
Yeah, we do.
You got a quorum, you don't have a majority.
We have.
It's 50-50.
And that abstention goes with the majority, and right now we have two. So there's no one voting against it.
There's one vote against it.
I'm sorry?
You have one against it.
Oh, you voted against it?
She opposed, I abstained.
I thought she abstained.
Well,
I did.
Opposed because I would like to have more information before I can.
So you're abstaining. So we have 2 in favor of 1. I thought parliamentary procedure said that abstentions goes with the majority.
I definitely would oppose. It's different than abstaining. I would oppose
Well,
until I can get more information. That's all I want.
And
Typically, if you abstain, I don't think your vote counts, right? So we have 2 votes, only 2 voting members, so then the question is, do we have a quorum because we only have 2 members?
We have a quorum.
We have a quorum present, but
majority.
correct, but we don't have, I don't think we have
Majority
enough
of the
voting
votes.
members because we've got 2 abstaining.
You have 4 voting members. Well,
We have 2 abstaining, so we only have 2 voting members because
I'm not against it. I just want more information before I can.
Okay, can we?
Well, to me, the more information is going to come when the proposal is presented. She's just has the authority to say to them, if you make a proposal like this, they'll definitely hear it. But if you just come in there and you don't present a proposal, you don't do anything else, then I can't tell you anything.
Explain how the procedure will go for how this may be done, sir, that may help.
You're approving her going to them and saying, submit something, this is what they talked about being comfortable with doing, you or any other buyer. So, if you're not comfortable with the amount, that's one thing. If you're not comfortable with what's going in there, that's a whole nother thing.
It's not too much going in there, but like Kevin said before, then I think that there will be other businesses, just like he said, basically, say the liquor store has some, they're gonna ask.
when IKEA bought the show buildings, they came to us and said, this is what we'd like to we want to buy it, here's how many jobs we're gonna have, this is what we're doing. Will the city help us do this? Yes. We'd be more than happy to. Same thing with the Sherman. They said, hey, look, we're gonna do this, this, and this. It's gonna be a couple years before we get the beer hall open. We're gonna have a restaurant, the hotel's gonna be opened up a little after. We're gonna have it all done. The city helps work through this. Yes.
Okay.
And I guess that's.
So we've set the
So I don't
precedent.
know, Brian, can you look up real quick what the parliamentary
I don't
procedures are for?
And I can bring back a project plan.
Yeah,
It's just part of the.
And I could even ask the potential
For
purchaser.
a quorum vote that comes out 2 for and 2 abstentions.
I mean, I guess
Just ask AI.
part of my question is,
Ask AI.
Bill, do we really need a motion to tell Sarah she can go talk to him about it? Yes, the city's has an incentive for someone to buy this and be fine.
I think it gives her the support that she needs to have going in there. We're not approving anything other than giving her the, and she may go to them and say, hey, this is not something I recommend you doing. I'm just trying to give her something to go in there and say, you know, this is where the city's, this is where RDC is coming from.
RDCs and would be willing to consider up to $150,000. And but according to your proposal, right?
Potentially up to.
Yeah.
It gives you the ability to just go talk and negotiate plant Cs. I
She's
think.
not taking a checkbook with
Yeah,
her.
because honestly, we could say we can give up $150,000, but then when the offer comes in, we'd be like, no, I'm not giving $150,000 for that. Like, it just gives us the ability, the window to say, hey, there's a backing that comes from RDC.
And again, how many prospects have we had come over the doorstep looking at these properties? The question is, how much does the city want?
And then they go to investors, and the investors say, well, what's the city doing? I don't know, I talked to them, but
That's the way it goes with every capital project in this community. They will come to us and say, well, my donors aren't giving because they want to know how seriously the city is taking this project.
Well, the city doesn't even know the project. The city knows there's 2 buildings there with somebody we need to get rid of, and we want something in, but right now, we don't even have a project.
But we know that they want to stabilize, that our dollars are gonna go to stabilize the building, and that's.
Make improvements to the building.
And to me, this is exactly what, TIF dollars are for.
So I think your motion carries.
I'm sorry?
It would run through statute, so I think your motion should carry.
So it goes to for.
Yeah,
PCBAs and no nays.
I abstained, Melissa was against, and you two
You
voted
voted against?
for.
Okay, so it's 2.
So,
That means it
so
passes.
it ends up being 2, 1, and 1, so it carries.
It carries.
That's what I thought. Okay.
And I'm not going to give the form away. I mean, I know how we manage our money. I know the projects that are on the horizon. I just know that these are 2 great buildings that, you know, are starting to deteriorate. And if we lose them and they go into foreclosure, we may be in a position that we don't have a choice.
Okay. Anything else under where we at? New business?
Did I jump ahead?
We're still on number 3. You brought, we're on other.
Oh,
new
yeah,
business.
new business.
Nope.
Additional topics.
Okay, additional topics. In looking at and hearing what they said in the executive session about coming up with a plan for what kind of available cash we might have to apply to various projects. I think we have a better handle on this now than we did before. With the bid that came in for the road, and I'm a little concerned with saying that we have all of the difference between the 1.5 that's set aside for the industrial park and subtracting the 1.129 that we just approved for the road. I'd like to keep a little of that, involved in maybe a change order or 2. but I'm thinking that we can maybe get 200,000 there. And then we have an unassigned balance, even when we look at all the potential expenditures we have, including keeping a cash balance of 200,000, we still have 793,000. And if we look at all of these things that we have in the budget that are in the budget, I'm thinking that, and I certainly want Paul to weigh in on this and want to be conservative about it, but I'm hoping that we might be able to come up with $1 million to apply for this project. And I haven't really subtracted out or considered what we're going to be paying for the industrial park or for the rest stop, and I haven't really looked at, we need to set aside, and if we're going to be approving these kind of things, we need to build it into our budget, whether we spend it or not on that building. But I think we ought to plow out some money for those properties downtown and just call it incentive money and not really put it in an idea. But I would be willing to sit down with Paul, and I guess my question is there anything I'm saying that you all agree with or disagree with, or is there anything else?
I think coming up with some cash to put toward that's a good idea. Keep us from having to borrow as much. But I would want to leave us with nothing to help support projects that we might need to do that. So I think what I'm hearing, I think we're on the same page.
Okay.
I mean, we got ready money that's going to come in and help take care of a big portion of that road.
Did you have a conversation with Paul, or if you want me to talk with him, I will?
It's a conversation that we've had, but we were kind of taken back by the low bids as well. So we didn't really come to any conclusions at that point in time, but we do know that there's additional costs that are associated with the road.
There'll be some more soft busters.
Yeah.
And those costs aren't going to come until 2026.
It won't come out of it.
At one point, we talked finances about how this all hit time that it may be friendly with the timing at the end of the year based on the time frame that was discussed,
Yeah.
3 to 5 month window. I think you brought up that observation.
Yeah.
So it might be friendly that you do the expenditure and you immediately hit next year with your.
But we did have release coming with more money next year and more money this fall. I know the fall revenue is already calculated.
Some of that might also depend on our first bond payment will be made too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And ideally, that project gets cleaned up.
But that gets supplanted by the old bond payment. And every dollar we put toward this is going to reduce that by more than $1.
Right, but the new, I'm talking, I guess that's what I'm talking about, the new bond payment, if it's not due until when's the first bond payment, it's gonna be 12 months after or 6 months after.
Yeah, I think that's what the current schedule is, right? Like 6 months. There's a little payment and there's a large payment.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, thank you.
I have been.
I appreciate
what is that? How much is it? What did we have to come up with to retire? 3 point something?
I think the total amount of the current bond, as it sits, I think the total obligation is like 2.6 million on the current bond, correct?
Yeah, on the current.
So this will go a long way to reducing
And assuming the 100% value, right?
it. Okay. Any other, Melissa? Gary?
Just a heads up, the city is still planning on going forward with that Main Street grant that we were gonna go for a couple months ago. Proposals due October 19th. Sorry, I forgot. The city is still planning on moving forward with the Main Street downtown grant. We'll be applying to the Office of Communal Affairs in October. Proposal, the full application is in December. And
Yeah, I believe, and switching hats here, on that note, I think there was discussion about cost of design, things of that sort. I think there was an RDC meeting where I wasn't in attendance and Amy presented that. And so I know that there were some mechanics there with how that worked, but just as an update on that, Main Street has met with the businesses that are right there in that parking lot initially. The laundromat, Ken's Auto, as well as down George Street. Ison's, also, yes, Land Meats as well. Ison's, Walnut Street Variety Store, Amex Well, as well as John and Natasha Kellerman, to get their input. Their input's been provided to the design team to make sure that that design accommodates and accounts for those businesses specifically within that design. And so that's Kyle Lugan with HWC is currently working on that. I anticipate he's talking about having a specific design accounting for those requirements here in the near future, I assume in the coming weeks.
Yeah, and they're gonna be meeting with the businesses, we'll have meetings with the business owners as well as public meeting to get public comment. But yeah, that project is moving forward once again.
They did, I think, I don't know if there's been an official announcement, but the word is that that grant is open about the press release on that or not. There's been public.
Yeah, no, the round will open officially, September 19th, September 24th, I think the round opens.
So it's proceeding grant if they get the award.
Yeah, well, we still have to apply to the state for it. It's a competitive process. So we'll be working on writing the grant for that, applying to the state. The final full application is due December 19th, so it won't be announced an award until probably January of next year is the timeframe.
I don't have anything from the city attorney's office.
I appreciate you, I appreciate the motion that you made in pursuing.
Kevin, you have anything else?
No, I'm good, sir.
Sarah? That's
I'm
it?
good.
Okay, motion to adjourn? I'll second. All in favor, aye? Next meeting, September the 24th. And you have that resolution.
I do, and then I've got, yeah. Go ahead and circle it. John needs your signature on these